Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Not bad.
Not bad, not bad. Good.
Who are you?
I'm Randy Vasquez. I'm associate producer here at CIG.
Oh,
Who
you're
are
a
you?
producer?
I'm a producer.
You know who I am?
I don't know who you are.
I'm the Bug Smasher.
No one watches that show.
I'm the Bug Smasher, Mark Abent, gameplay programmer, and everyone watches me.
It's true. Not even creepy.
A little bit creepy.
Well, we're here to answer some questions. First, we'd like to thank the subscribers for everything they've done to make this possible for us to have, this show for 10 developers, and I guess that one show you just mentioned, what was it again? I forgot already.
I don't remember. I don't have coffee anymore. Something about smashing bugs. Bug Smasher, I think.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
So, let's get started.
All right. Let's start off with our first very own question from Bacon of War.
I do like bacon.
All right. Bacon says, have you ever had a bug that fixing it turned cynical? I.e., you fixed a bug in the piece of code, but that caused this piece of code not to work. So you fixed that bit of code only to find that it broke the original piece of code again.
So bugs turn cynical or cyclical.
Cylindrical?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. Bugs have turned cylindrical and cynical. This actually happened recently. For 2.4, we're having this persistence shenanigans where you can, walk up to your ship and, if I have a cup on the ship or a weapon, I could select it and remove it and add maybe a pencil or a gun or something. And in order to see that interaction, we had to use our interaction system, which was all developed for Item System 2.0, not for the original item system. So we had to basically start making the original item system work with this interaction system, which meant we had to install a new network component, a new physics component, and finally the interaction component. And the interaction component and network component were like, all right, I'll work. I got this. Cool. Physics component was like, nah. I got bugs for you. So when I finally got it installed, got it in, QA started finding some bugs.
We had a flood of bugs coming because all the QA was hitting me all the stuff is now, you're falling through things, the turrets were not working.
You could put a poster on the wall, walk up to it, slap it, and it'd fall down to the ground. It was
so funny.
You could, there's a weapon thing to restock ammo, and you could push it into the wall, and it was oh no, what did I do? So yes, you fix one, and then a bunch more come up, because QA, especially Andrew, he'll call you up, have this cynical laugh, and go, I found something. And you're like, oh god.
It's even worse when he reopens it, and then just lets you know, he's like, by the way,
not only does when he opens it, he Skypes you directly and to give you that laugh. It's great. So yeah, fix them, break them, happens all the time, and then you just go back and fix it. Luckily, that's why we have QA. QA's awesome.
Yes. Oh my god. So the next one is actually it's actually before my time, but Piet 11111. Did I miss a one?
I think there's 4 more ones.
4 more ones? So he says, I heard a neat story that when the first physics stuff was being built for Star Citizen, the spaceship movement was bugged, and the guy in charge of this was trying to figure out what the heck was going on, double-checking, triple-checking everything to find out what was going on. He talked with Chris Roberts at some point, and he said, oh yeah, CryEngine simulates everything as if it's underwater. Now, if I probably got something wrong in the story above, but I want to know if there's any similar stories to share about someone losing lots of sleep trying to figure out a problem that turned out to be incredibly easy to fix, if you just knew that particular oddity of the engine. So I didn't even know about this story. What is this?
Oh, this is a great story. So this happened roughly 2 years ago before we even launched Arena Commander. And we had our physics programmer, John Pritchett. He flew out from Kansas, and we were working with him trying to get Arena Commander 1 out. And everything was going sort of working well, and then all of a sudden our ships just started acting weird. You'd fly, but it would go the wrong way, and then you would just stop.
So like our missiles sometimes?
Worse. Actually, our missiles were underwater, but that's another story. But yeah, and we were trying to figure out what's going on. And John Pritchett, he's debugging this. I think he spent 2 or 3 days, because we're all still new at the engine, especially him, trying to figure out what's going on with physics. Is it the game code? Is it thrusters? It's a whole big system.
Yeah.
And he finally figures it out. He walks up to us and he goes, I still remember his face, our ships are underwater. Everyone around just looks and goes, can you repeat that? Our ships are underwater. And what happened is, CryEngine by default, like if
Has water under everything. Under
Yes.
every single level in CryEngine has water.
If you think of it like an XYZ plane, you have X and then maybe Y and then Z up and down. So if this table was the X, Y, and then Z up and down, anything below 0 would be considered water. So any entity that went past 0, 0, 0 instantly got the water flag. So if you were flying up in here, you'd be fine. As soon as you go down here, you're in water.
Even though the plane is invisible, because like you can't really.
Even though we got rid of terrain and got rid
Yeah.
of water for space, you were still going underwater.
Nice.
And it was like a simple fix. It was just like really, oh my gosh. And there's been many bugs like that, but
That's kind of awesome. I can just see John's face too. And it's like, by the way,
by the way,
this thing water.
Yes.
Everything's in it.
yes.
Cool.
I don't even know how you knew that, but that was a good story. All right, let's go on to our next question.
Yep.
So Mr. Mortis Rigger, oh, that's good. We have, I have to say before I go on to this question, we have a guy named John, and his last name's Riggs. So we call him Riggs the Rigger.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it. Hopefully he doesn't see this, but Riggs the Rigger. So Mr. Mortis Rigger, bug smashing, open development versus closed development. Pros and cons, go.
Favorite pro con, most hated con, go. So we actually talked about this for a little bit in that there's a big difference in the team setup when you're live and basically open development compared to when you're behind closed doors and the players don't get a chance to see what you're actually working on. Because like I remember when I was a designer working for other studios, and before we released any betas or alphas or anything like that, like we were able to just work on a feature and really nail that feature down. And we also had like QA didn't really bug it up because they knew it was being worked on. Where now in like open development, we're always live, and people get to see everything we do every single push, and the features we push forward. Like in QA is awesome because they're basically our last line of defense, as well as they're on all the bugs on live, they're on the bugs on the features, so they're bugging everything.
And they even talk with the community to find what they have and going back and forward, gather all the information, then drop it on our desk going, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, I think like open development to me takes a little bit longer. I think that's the con, but again, we get really valuable feedback really early on. I know port modification and the 2.4 stuff we've been working with, like the private group, we've been getting a lot of feedback on some of the features that we're trying to push out and stuff we didn't even think about. We're like, oh yeah. Okay, cool, we didn't catch that because I mean QA, I think we have like maybe 30 people, if that. I don't even know the actual number.
I think there's more because the UK and Austin have a lot.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. Like, I think it might be about like 30 something people, and that's not enough people. Like, all the stuff we need from there is like, we need more people to test.
Big development
so that's
houses.
good. That's definitely good pro for having open development or like that, where closed development, we don't have those same numbers of people being able to jump in and stuff like that, and getting playtests, sometimes getting everyone involved is kind of crazy, especially like trying to get devs to like take time out of the day to playtest, which we do from.
Well, that's why you go around going, ready to play test, ready to play test, ready to play test. And you're like,
a little bit.
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
So yeah, that's kind of the pro and con I have for like open development versus closed development. I don't have a preference. Sometimes I have a preference. Like if I'm working on a feature, I have a preference, But if I'm not working on a feature and I'm like just helping support stuff, then I definitely prefer one or the other. So.
Yeah.
Anything on you?
Good.
All right, let's go to the next one. Next question's from Amontillado. I don't know how to say that. Amontillado. Hi, Mark and Randy.
Hi.
I understand that Mark is both a feature programmer and a bug smasher at CIG. Do you typically get assigned to squash your own bugs? Also, bug smashing seems to be largely entirely directed at coding errors. Does CIG have a similar system in place to smash design bugs? And then how do you smash How do you smashing code bugs and fixing design errors compare? So this all kind of lumps into a big one thing. Like, I know I'm always talking with the engineers, I'm always talking with the designers and stuff, and design is kind of a weird thing in that designers are kind of the glue for a lot of different departments. And all the departments here at CIG, like, they work closely, like, hand in hand. Like, how many times do you work with designers? At least, like, every day. And then also, how many times do you work with artists? So every single department is kind of, to use the word cyclical, like, they all work together. They're always, because you and Mark McCall are always working on stuff together. So the tech content team, the tech artists, the regular artists, when they're making geometry, if the geometry's not working right with the tech, then you have to go back and forth. I know Ariel's working on the port editor stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, he's been working with the artists big time over the past, like, 2-3 months. He's been working, and then also working with the designers as well, because make sure when they use the tools, they can kind of go from there. So, yeah, it's like, I don't really think that it is a specific system to, like, the whole entire company, but, like, every department has their own processes in which they handle the bug. Like, some of the stuff with the ships, I know you and Kirk talk a bunch, because Kirk's like, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? And, like, you and Sherman were talking about, I think, some of the weapon stuff, like, what, last week? Or was it the week before? I don't remember.
Well, it's like with the new item 2.0 stuff, since we're changing a lot of the systems, I'll go to design, go, hey, this is how I'm thinking of implementing it, because they're the guys that are actually going to do the brute force work of, here's the XML, here's the records, stick it all together. I go, here's the flow I'm thinking, what do you have an opinion on? What do you think? And they'll give me feedback, and then I'll go to evil Mark, or Mark McCall, and all other Marks are evil. But
even this one.
Even this one. But I'll go also to Evil Mark, because he'll do the, like, asset and animations and link those together with the items. So design has a specific area, tech design has a specific area, so I'll go to each one to make sure that when I'm making this new stuff that they both work together.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a big mix. Like, there's, like I said, like,
big
everybody has their own process and what they need. It really depends on what the bug is and what they need for it and who to talk to. So, cool. Let's go to the next one.
All right, sounds good. Mr. Steve Hunter. Hey guys, thanks for all the hard work.
You're welcome.
We do hard work? I thought we do fun work.
I think it's fun, sometimes.
All the time.
Most of the time.
When fixing bugs, have you ever had an occasion where it was fixed in one place, only to discover later that the actual cause was in some other place? So you had to do the proper fix and undo the original fix.
Yes.
I actually did a Bug Smasher video. Yeah, you know that
What?
show.
I don't know. Never seen it.
I have to educate you after this.
Actually, I think I'm on one or two of them.
No, that's
like
your
my
evil
voice.
twin or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
So, yeah, yes, all the time. So, I guess the example would be going back with the new item system. We have these entities or items, and they have, I love having this stuff. Maybe it has this cup as what it looks like, and it's physics. So if I hit the cup, it, reacts, and it is just one thing that we have. We designate a slot where this geometry and physics go, and we could have a number of slots. But for most part, we have one slot, and our old items had one slot. But to get this interaction system up and running, we needed to have physics in different locations. Maybe this one opens a door, this one turns on power. So we had to have another physics thing. So now we have two slots in this entity, and we had to physicalize both. And it should have been as simple as saying -1, and what that would do is go, if it's -1, it'll go through each slot and physicalize it. That was something we did about 2 years ago for the vehicle system. However, it was working when we attached these items to ships, but then as soon as you detached it and put it onto the ground, it had no physics. And it was because of that change. And we were like, what's going on? This used to work. This worked 2 years ago.
It's always kind of funny when bugs like that pop up, because then you guys are fighting old code and then being like, whoa. So we want this to happen. Why is this happening? Then kind of dig it in. Like sometimes I know you guys are like, one time I think you came over to your desk and it was like, you had 12 different files open. You're just like, I don't know where it is.
I'm just tracing back the history.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I did find what was causing that, and it was when it was -1, it just early aborted, while the code that we had back then was just missing. And I literally was tracing back the history to find what happened, because I'm like, this code was there. And I find it way back, I think it was a year ago, there was an integration from like a newer engine version to some new tech for like 64-bit. And during that, it removed some code. And we just never noticed this because we never had to do this type of thing.
Yeah.
The vehicles ended up getting a completely different code, so we never noticed it until we put this item in. And then, so yeah, I was like, all right, here's the old code that used to work. And then now when we plop this thing down on the ground, it has physics. And it's just like, the history is haunting me. It's like, I fixed this years ago.
Don't envy that at all.
But luckily, I love Perforce. You could just scroll through the history and like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. It's called the blame history.
Yeah. So the next one, actually for me, is from Sloan Warrior. When an impending release rears its head, roughly how much of the company would you say is devoted to getting the release out, bug smashing, testing, and so on? Conversely, how much of the company isn't impacted by the release cycle and simply continues to make content? This one right here is kind of a mixed bag, and can't really answer it because this is a case by case. For instance, this release, we're working on persistence, we're working on shopping, we're working on item 2.0 here specifically, and then we're working on refactoring little things here and there, and then the art side, they're actually working on like the caterpillar. And then like, Jeremiah and Omar, they're all working on like more character stuff. Shane was working on like a cool jetpack that's supposed to be going in this release too. So every single person's working on tons of different things, tons of different aspects, and they're not necessarily all working on the same thing, but they're all working towards the goal of the release. And every single release, we have a goal. We're like, all right, these are the main high points we want to put into this release, and then we kind of go from there. And it goes back to even the bug fixing. It's the same thing with task fixing and task management of going through and making sure like, all right, what support does this task need, and then kind of going from there. So I know you've actually been pulled off sometimes from doing the feature stuff, because I know you was working on seats, controller manager with some of our new engineers.
Yeah,
we were working on signal links and stuff and piping and making sure all that stuff's situated. But then Event here gets like pulled off and it's like, oh, okay, well 2.4 needs help with this, so I'm gonna go help out that. So will take a day or so here and there, and like Paul has been a madman. Like he is crazy.
Cranking out those
dude. He's been
crazy.
really helping out the 2.4 stuff, and he's been focused on that. So that way, like his team can continue just focusing on the feature. But he's a beast, anyways. Like
he is.
I mean, the amount of stuff he knows about the engine, and the amount of stuff that he just knows globally, is just insane. Like my brain only can fit so much.
You could talk to him and say something. He'll like give a second. The brain starts ticking, and then he spits the answer out, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. So no, it's basically everything, and that's every release. It's completely different. So the stuff we have planned for 2.5 and going forward, it's going to need different resources. So, and this is going to be spread across like all the different studios that we're working with, whether it's like Frankfurt, UK, Austin, here in LA, even the guys at Turbulent and stuff. Like we're all just working on different aspects of it and need different things just from each release. So every single release is its own little snowflake.
And to add on to that, it's like I could be working on this subset of stuff for the new items things, and then I can't work on the next thing because I'm waiting something from Patrick or even Chad. So I take my code and I put it up for a review, and I go wait. In the meantime, I go bug Paul saying, hey, I'm blocked by this. Is there anything I can help with?
Yeah.
And then I'll just help with some 2.4 stuff or some other things. And then once I get them blocked, I'll swap back.
Yeah. And right now, I think like actually between Paul, you, and Chad Z now, like you guys are the old people here for engineers. Like you guys are basically the old crew, and like now we have a few new engineers and stuff coming, and then hopefully when we get Humphreys, he'll be actually kind of an old head too. Because he knows the engine really well, and he'll be another senior here.
He's another Paul.
Yeah, I know, it's gonna be crazy having you three together. All right, so hope we answered your question. Let's go on to the next.
I like rambling. I gotta give the details, man. Did you say the question last time?
I did.
Okay. You can say it. No, I got this. This one's by Overturn. Hi.
Hi.
Can you tell us more about the tools you have developed internally and are in use? For instance, a tool to balance ship and weapons. If it doesn't exist yet, are you planning to do it, and with what approach?
Oh, so actually, this is a good one. Like we talked about John Pritchett before with the cool story, and John's actually been working on something that's like goal-based tuning. So that way, it helps the designers kind of input information into like a database, right? Like our spreadsheet or something. Like, all right, this is what we want the ship to do, and then the system will extrapolate everything, all the information, and then kind of make it work with IFCS and everything like that, and also kind of help like the big ships, the Idris, the Javelin, and all those also kind of work into it. So like
huge because his system is physically based, so you need to have actual proper physics. Bunch of params, and designers are like, well, what does this one do?
Basically.
And it's like, John has it all in his head.
I know, it's scary.
And he has all these variables that he knows of, and it's just like, I just want it to do this thing. So he's making a nice in-game tool to say, give me what you want, and it'll output those values.
I remember sitting down with John, and I was like, John, explain this to me. He was like, okay. So he explained it to me, and I'm just like, jaw dropped, eyes glassed over. And then he was like, too much? No, I love talking to him. It's funny. I'm like, oh my God, all this stuff that you're putting into this is crazy. So he's been in the UK for the past week or two. Actually, this is the second week he's been in the UK, and he's been working on the goal-based tuning system before that, before he goes out there to train like Andrew Nicholson on how to basically tune it for balancing and everything like that. So it's been good for him to be out there just so he can sit down with the guys and be like, all right, this is because tuning a ship used to take a week or two sometimes, like depending on how complicated things were and how thrusters were working. Now they have it down to a few hours. Well, so like it's a really big noticeable difference of balancing the ships now.
Well, that too, and it's like we hit different problems, and because we've done it so many times, John knows what problems there's going to be, so he's able to make these tools to help designers fix it and do it quickly. So he's got it down to a science.
Yeah, no, he's pretty good about just sitting out the designers too and like figuring out exactly what they need. I remember on the first ship I was starting to work on, and he was like, okay, let's get this thing fly ready. I'm like, okay. And then he was talking about like all the math and algorithms and trying to get the thrusters set up, and I was trying to do the balance on the thrusters, and I was like, oh my God, so much stuff.
He has a lot of helpful things that just show the visual things.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to take a straw and like, it's like, suck the knowledge out.
And his stuff is more, I guess, in-engine debug screen stuff that outputs things, but we do have other tools like DataForge, or even the thing like Ariel's working on.
Yeah, DataForge is a big help actually, because it's going to start really cleaning up from doing like hand XML stuff, and anyone does like hand scripting and stuff like that. It's like if you have a tool, it makes it so much easier to read and cleaner, so that way you can see where the issues are.
No more editing raw XML.
It to me is so awesome when that's done.
Yeah, and we also have Ariel's tool, the item port editor, which helps tremendously because you can see on the screen in game your character and the ships, and you can remove stuff, and you can see it right then and there, and any errors like, hey, this can't fit there because the size is wrong.
Well, like he just recently got the preview stuff set up too this past week or so. So it's like really good. Like I know Sean Tracy and like Mark McCall and the new guy Link, he's actually going to be working on with that tool and stuff. So they've been giving him a lot of feedback, and he's been working side by side with them. And all the tools are just, like I said, like tools are awesome. Yes. People that can generate tools to be useful and stuff will just save time so we can develop more, faster, better. Better.
And if we don't have tools, you could always just be Calyx and just write your own Python GUI system to do heat balance. And yes, he did do that.
He did.
He was like, hey, look what
I'm prototyping this.
Okay.
Okay. At least he's not flow graphing it.
He did.
I know, but it was like, flow graph.
He flow graphed the entire system. And then once he figured out how he wanted it, then he made the GUI so he could explain it better to other people. Yeah,
because like the flow graph looked like spaghetti half the time.
Yeah.
I remember one time when he had first done like the little thing for when you're inside the cockpit and you get to interact with things. Then he showed you guys the flow graph, and you and Paul were like, how does that work? And he was like, I don't know. It just works.
He gets prototypes working great, but they're prototypes.
I remember I tried getting his grabby hand stuff working in one of my levels when I was trying to mess with like some of the cargo and some of the salvage. And I was like, Calyx, I don't understand this.
It's like, that ain't gonna work. It's prototype.
All right, so Next question is by Rufus Ultra. Hey, Randy. Hello. How was your transmission from dev to producer? Do you like your new job? Do you miss tinkering with the Caterpillar, or do you enjoy running around with a stick and Pockmark and other devs while demanding progress? Ooh. So my transmission's fine. Have you gotten yours checked out lately?
What?
Oh my God.
I power walk. I power walk every day 30 miles.
30 miles? Yeah, that's why you have like
30 miles
calves
up,
of
30
steel.
miles down. I think I'm still up.
Nice. Now the transition between dev to producer it's still ongoing. I think I've been a producer now for 3 months. Maybe, actually no,
Feels
no,
longer.
4 months. It feels like forever.
Feels like years.
Thanks.
Just have that dread when you walk over.
That's right.
It's like,
Get to work.
I'm like, no.
No, oh no.
There a
He
Jira?
has-
And then you'll be like,
What? There is a Jira, sir. Yeah, Jira.
you had to do that, didn't you? He does this all the time. He'll be like, hey, there's this bug. I have to do. And I'm like, there's no Jira, I can't do it. And he'll be like, Jira? I'll be like, oh, you, fine. No, then I'll try to get out and go, does my lead know? And you'll be like,
Oh,
Paul.
he
And then
knows.
Paul's like, and I'm like, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, no, because like there's always a problem in development, right? Where like people will, since I come from a dev background and I'm transitioning over to production, it's kind of like that whole thing of like devs will be like, I'm not doing anything the producer says unless they have a Jira. I'm like, okay, fine, it's documented. I'm like, yeah, I know these tricks. I've done them myself. It's like kind of like
Turned against us. You're a spy.
pretty open spy then.
Your tactics of spying needs a little work.
So yeah, no, it's like the transition's still going. I really do enjoy it. I mean, of course, there's some things like I hate scheduling. Oh my God, I hate scheduling so much. Because it's such, in this type of like environment to schedule for, it's an asynchronous schedule because you guys are working on something completely different. The designers are working on something completely different. All the games that I've worked on before have all been regular MMOs or more standard MMOs to where, you know, you have a zone and then you have all the quests that you're planning, you have everything else, so you have that progression. And we knew exactly what the progression was from level 0 all the way to whatever level cap was. So it was easier for us to look at it. And I've always kind of done production work in my other roles too, because I've always been like a designer / producer on some things. I've always made my own Jiras and stuff. I always had my own features that I was in charge of. So I've always run that. And when I was at 38, I think I had a team of 9 people, and I was the scrum master for the team, and I was running the features. I was in charge of the quest tool, which anybody that knows about anything tools, like the quest tool itself like touches everything in the entire game because everything is based on that. Then I had like localization stuff, I had some dialogue stuff. So yeah, I've always kind of done production stuff. I've just never actually made it really official.
Yeah.
So it's different, a different mentality. I'm still trying to I still have that inner battle right now of like dev versus producer, but it's also cool because I can go into meetings with you guys and like one of the producers, when we were talking about the doors meeting, right? We're talking all through the logic and everything like that, and I'm like, I understand it because I've done this before and I've been a dev for a while. But the other producer, he's like, I'm lost, and we're like, we're just talking about doors. He's
And
like, oh.
And then I think Sean walks up and he's like, just made a door.
Yeah, no, right? But even still, like I was able to talk logic and I'm able to like give input and stuff and help facilitate that. So I kind of have an idea of kind of what the development team needs. Granted, I'm still working on that too, because they're always hitting me up, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this. Okay, like the other day, I saw you like, I'm in a meeting and I see like Avent just like pulling a whiteboard. I'm like, hold on, what are you doing?
I needed to schedule things.
So then we started working on that together and kind of like putting the task up there and then making sure that at least the people he needs to work with, which right now you're working with Patrick a lot, so make sure that they're always in sync and they have what information and who's doing what task, since they don't necessarily have the same vision, like visibility that I do.
We'll have like the high-end Jiras that you'll sign us like, hey, make the seat. But there may be a bunch of things under that where I'll have to work with Patrick and go, all right, we have to plan this out of how we're going to do this. Do we need any resources? Like Kirk, I needed some stuff him to do so we get the new item stuff working. It's like, all right, that's another task. That's the task. That's the task. And it's just
So
like,
actually, to be clear, so a producer is never development's boss. Like their job is to facilitate and get like to help them out to make sure that they are not blocked so they can do their job. Because like some people, they have that are outside the game industry, they have the notion of like, oh, well, producer's the boss. I'm like, no, producer's never the boss. Like every time I make task, it's based on discussions with like Paul and you and the rest of the team, and being like, okay, I'll set up the meeting and I'll be like, all right, guys, this is the goal that we want to do. What are the tasks? What do we need to do? And then you, Paul, everyone else are like, okay, well, to do that, we need this, we need this, we need this. And then I start taking the notes and I start jotting down all that stuff. And then I turn those notes into actionable items so that way you guys can, you know, do the work. But you guys already have a better idea of exactly what it takes to do that work. Yeah. I just trying to make sure that that work is visible to now a larger audience so that way people can understand what you guys are actually working on and doing.
And to track it.
Yeah,
what are they doing?
Mostly communication tracking.
I have no idea.
Stuff. We're doing stuff and things.
Mm-hmm. We're making stuff work with more stuff.
Well, you keep breaking stuff.
You have to break it to make it.
Nice, nice. I see the disapproving look by Hennessy over there. You saw that? He was like,
Me and QA are buddy-buddy.
I'm on speed dial.
Pretty much I'm on speed dial with them now.
All right, next question.
All right. From Mr. Far Seeker. Why not Near Seeker? Why you gotta be far?
It's so far.
All right. Question for Randy. Oh, I'm gonna read your question.
Hello.
On delegating.
Ooh, big turn.
For patches with the type, yes, there's two types, so I have to say the type. For patches with the type of fundamental change that is expected in 2.4, does the live team do anything special in preparation, or is it handoff from PTU and QA basically the same?
So this right here, like, as mentioned before, every single release, I know, right?
You don't know. We're being held by gunpoint with a Nerf gun.
Really are. Those things shoot fast, too.
They do.
All right, I'm getting put off on a tangent. So you're like...
That's our stay on tangent machine.
So every single release, there's really no live team. There's basically everyone, and then whatever's based on the release, they kind of pull from resources, and like I said before, like art, design, engineering, everything. They're kind of like, all right, well, this is what we want to do. This is the goal for this release. And then we pull the people that are in charge of those features, in charge of that release. So then they'll kind of do most of the work for each individual release. And when we do handoffs, we do a handoff every day. Mm-hmm. And the handoff happens between the UK and here in the US. And UK takes care of this stuff in Frankfurt as well. So they'll have all those mix of bugs. And then Alex Marshall and all of them over there, they'll go ahead and kind of communicate with all the producers over there. So that way, like, there's main points of contact for each individual studio. And then we'll have meetings every day. And now if we're pushing out to live, or if we're pushing out to the PTU and stuff, then we'll even have more meetings, because we'll have our no-go, our go, no-go meetings, and we'll be like, we'll talk with QA, we'll talk with the main leads, and being like, all right, is this good enough to go to PTU? Now, sometimes it has been completely like crap, but we needed to test some stuff. We're like, hey, we just put this fix in, or we just put some debugging in, and then we're like, but we need to push this to PTU now. So then, like, you know, we'll ask for a build. QA will do like a dirty test of that build, and then we'll push it out to PTU anyways, just so the people that are in PTU, they help us out, and they go through and get everything situated so we can keep testing.
It's like, I know this is gonna break this, but we really need to test that.
Yep. So sometimes we've even like disabled arena commanders. So like for 2.4 stuff we're testing on, like the PTU right now, we don't have arena commander working
because Crusader at the moment.
It's only Crusader because we want to really test the shopping. We want to test that stuff, and there's enough crashes and breaks without introducing more things in there. So yeah, no, we definitely do a handoff, and it's every day, and it's the communication between the different departments and QA is really leading charge of like telling us what's broken and what's not. I'm still gonna get shot. I'm waiting.
I'm just waiting. He's waiting for us to get comfortable, and then he'll shoot one. We'll be like, "What?"
I'm doing my girlies.
Oh, that's not cool. He plucks. Oh, jeez. Where did he get you at?
I don't want to say. Right in my soul.
Oh no.
All right, next question. Oh! In my squiggly spooch.
It got me right where it hurts. Oh, now you want us to
All right.
continue. Yes.
Alrighty, so the next question is by
pronounce that.
Jimmy Beard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Beige 44?
My page isn't the same thing. He has BEJ.
VEJ 44.
Yeah.
Jimmy Beard.
Jimmy Beard.
So, after each patch launch to the PTU, do our bug reports make a difference? Yes. I report bugs, but have never received message or email stating it was resolved or fixed. Does this happen? Thanks so much for all your hard work. Jimmy Beard out. So, again, yes. Every time you guys put in bug reports or using the council, anything you guys do, using the forums, community is always going through that, QA is always pouring through that, design's pouring through that. A bunch of people are always pouring through all the community stuff on the forums, council, like bug reports, everything, all the crash reports. I know once the crashes get to a certain point, then all those crash reports are sent out to the producers, and then we send them out to our engineers so that way they can kind of look at the crashes, get everything situated. So yes, everything you guys do, seriously, thank you.
Yes.
Because without you guys testing and helping us actually find this stuff, we could not do our job and fix what is needed.
There could be bugs sometimes, but we just can't even replicate it. We need more information.
Yeah.
And when it goes out, it's like maybe a ton of you guys get it, and you pour all the information of how you're getting this thing, and then all the information gets compiled up, sent into a gigantic JIRA, and it says, this guy, and it will link to what you guys have said, and it's just like a big document of like everything, so we could try to scramble through what is actually happening, what people might think was happening.
Yep.
And we've found and tracked down lots of bugs.
Yeah, and QA is the one that gets those reports, and then once QA gets those reports, then they go ahead and verify it. They fill out the information for like extra steps, alternate ways to get things, because like one of the ones actually recently, remember the spawning issue we had where like 50 something pirates were just spawning, and we could not repro that at all, but then people on PTU, they're like, hey, this is happening. So it took us like about a good 3 to 5 days to finally like narrow that down, and that's between design and engineering. They were in QA, like those guys were really just hammering these different aspects. So yes, seriously, thank you again for all you guys' hard work helping us make like Star Citizen better by testing, jumping into PTU, jumping on live, using the report system, using the forums, reaching out to us. It is really, really appreciated on everything that you guys do with this community.
And even if you don't get a reply, we're still more than likely using your information. It's just our QA team is so small and they're stretched so wide, they don't have really enough time to reply to everyone. So they'll just gather the information what they can, get the report done so the developer could get it, and then if they have time, then they'll reply if they have.
I don't know.
It's really hard for them, but we do use a lot of information. I've seen information from Reddit, from the forums, anywhere. I've even seen posts on Facebook's.
Actually, YouTube is actually really funny too, because like we saw so many good things on YouTube. But again, so for you guys, thank you for allowing us to do this.
Subscribers
are
awesome.
Subscribers are awesome. Normal studios don't get a chance to do this, and this is actually really awesome that we get to be very open with you guys, answer questions, and take the time out of our day to kind of, again, thank you guys, because this is pretty awesome that we get a chance to do this.
Without you guys, we wouldn't have Bug Smashers or whatever this show is. What is this thing? Something 10 for the Randy?
That's right, 10 for Randy. So yeah, thank you guys. If anything, see you in the verse.
The what?
Hey guys, thanks for watching 10 for the Chairman. If you guys would like to see more episodes, go here. If you guys would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel and always keep up to date with all our video content, go here. And if you guys would like to watch episodes of Around the Verse, go here please. And I will see you in the verse.